Welcome to ShlockFM, bringing you whatever washes up on the shores of entertainment, no matter the stench. Featuring music from Carl Casey at White Bat Audio, and your host as always, Alex or RCG Blade. Hello everybody, I'm Alex or RCG Blade, as you might have heard, and I'm here with episode 2 of ShlockFM. Thank you all for joining me once again. If you thought there wasn't going to be another one of these, well, surprise, here we are. Now, a quick little brief moment to discuss why it's been a month exactly to this date, actually, since the first episode of this podcast. I intended to do one sooner, but I got struck with COVID towards the beginning of October, kind of threw me off with a whole lot of things, and I've spent the last little bit catching up on everything, and now here I am finally slightly caught up, very tired, body aching, but still alive. So I just wanted to put that out there as a quick explanation in case you just listened to this podcast. Also, I wanted to put out a quick correction in my first episode, which was like forever ago now. I mistakenly said that Hellraiser would have a Canadian release. It just didn't. The Hulu Hellraiser, it was nowhere to be seen on Disney+, nowhere to be seen on Discovery, just nowhere. It still doesn't have an official Canadian release. I found a way to watch it, I'll leave it at that, and I'll get into my thoughts about that a little later, but just wanted to put that correction out there because, gotta keep it honest. So, starting off today, our first topic, we're going to talk about Halloween Ends. It just came out recently. I was going to go see it with my girlfriend, but unfortunately, like I said, COVID struck. But we've still got some information we can discuss now. So, I wanted to compare Halloween Ends box office, at least from what we've seen thus far. I'm going first weekend comparisons here. I wanted to compare Halloween Ends with the previous films in the franchise, excluding Halloween 1978, because, of course, that was a very different time and a very different place for everything. But so, starting with Halloween 2018, that one, in a pre-COVID era, made $76.2 million on its first weekend, the opening weekend. That's not bad. That's quite a lot, actually. Impressive. Halloween Kills, this is during COVID, $50.4 million. This was one of the biggest openings for the time because there wasn't much coming out. So, pretty uncontested. It was allowed a lot of time and a lot of screens to flourish. Now we get to Halloween Ends, the conclusion to this trilogy. And it's got a $41.2 million first weekend. Personally, I think it's insane that it opened less than Halloween Kills. I figured some people might skip Halloween Kills and go straight for Ends, but here we are. Clearly, it's the other way around. I'm unsure why Halloween Ends is so low. It could have to do with the film itself, which I will also be getting into. Anyway, moving forward now, we've got the Dead by Daylight Chapter 26 teaser they posted. This is going to be for the Forged in Fog chapter. Now, if you don't already know, there's going to be a killer and a survivor in this chapter. And from what I've heard, it's going to have a brand new realm, so it's not going to be like any of the other maps we've had. The killer is going to be the Knight, and the survivor is going to be Vittorio, which I love that name, by the way. So the Knight's going to have some interesting powers related to guard, patrol, etc. Vittorio's going to have, I believe, perks related to being chased near a gen, a skill check boost, like a general skill check boost, and something else, I forget the other one. Anyway, so that's going to be properly revealed on November 1st, as we saw in the teaser, and I'm personally excited to see what this new killer offers. I wasn't that interested in a Knight. I'm still, honestly, not that interested in a Knight. I think the concept is a little overdone at this point for Dead by Daylight. There's a lot of sword-wielding killers. I would like something more unique like Dredge. And frankly, from what I've heard, I'm not that wooed by the killer yet. So I'll have to hold out. I'll have to wait and see. Maybe the new map will be cool. Hopefully it won't be terribly survivor-sided. That'll remain to be seen. But I am still, regardless, excited for this new chapter. Then we've also got the Texas Chainsaw game being developed by Gunn. And this one, actually, it's a bit different than what you might expect when you think about games like Dead by Daylight. This is a 3v4. So 3 killers, 4 survivors. They've added 2 new killers, Johnny and Sissy, so that both sides will have 5 playable characters, so it's a little more balanced. Again, it's still a 3v4, so you're not going to see all of those killers getting play. You're not going to see all those survivors getting play. But it at least balances out the choices. It'll seem like the survivors in this game are more than just skins like they are in Dead by Daylight. It remains to be seen, if I'm not mistaken, if they've got a prestige system coming, but we'll have to wait and see for that. We've also got Resident Evil 4's remake, which just had an amazing trailer show up. I loved watching that. I love the new design for Leon. So far, all the new designs I'm liking. I don't really know how I feel about Salazar, but to be frank, I'm surprised they managed to even put him in. So that game is coming out March 24th, 2023. That's pretty soon. And let me tell you, it is remakes abound, because we've also got Silent Hill 2 Remake being developed by Bloober. So that's in the final stages of development. There's no actual release date, but it could very well be sometime late 2023 perhaps. And that is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. So that is upsetting. Hopefully it comes to PC after about a year or so. We'll have to wait and see. But Silent Hill fans, that is not the only game that was announced, because they've also got Silent Hill Townfall and Silent Hill F. Worth noting, the reason I'm saying them together here is because Townfall and F share the same stylized F in their titles. I've heard from a leak, I believe, that Silent Hill Townfall will be taking place in the same universe as Hideo Kojima's PT teaser that was once on PlayStation 4, if you're familiar with that. This would be very interesting if so. I wonder how they're going to go with it. And I'm assuming that these other games are going to be PlayStation exclusives as well, and they would most likely be released after Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'm assuming sometime 2024. Alright, all that video game stuff out of the way. Let's start talking some movies. The big Black Adam controversy. Normally I probably wouldn't devote time talking about Black Adam, but there's kind of been this ongoing sentiment in the film community, held by a fringe few, but now it seems to be getting more mainstream traction, that essentially critics just don't know what they're talking about, and they are reviewing modern movies wrong because they don't know how to have fun. So, for example, the Black Adam Rotten Tomatoes score for critics is 39%, and the score for audiences is 90% as of the recording of this. So if you were to look at that face value, you would see, okay, 90% of the audiences liked it, 39% of the critics liked it. Clearly critics are snobby or something, right? Okay. Here's the problem. As a critic, you can't just do what a lot of these film enjoyers tend to say, and I don't want to repeat what Martin Scorsese said. I'm not going to get into that whole debate about Marvel movies are theme parks and they're not cinema and all this stuff. Although I totally understood what he meant, and I personally agree. I just feel like people don't understand that, like, being a critic is a job. At the end of the day, it's a profession. People do it professionally. You have to apply that same standard to all films, otherwise that standard means nothing. Like, you don't put a lesser health and safety standard on a McDonald's because it's fast food, as you would a finer restaurant. There's no difference there. You have to have the same health and safety standards. Just like with film, as a critic, you have to maintain those same standards. You can't be floppy. You can't just turn your brain off and enjoy Black Adam beating the shit out of Pierce Brosnan, which I haven't seen the film, but honestly, if I can see Dwayne Johnson throwing hands with Pierce Brosnan, I would watch. Even if they're all CGI messes, which I'm sure it'll just be a CGI fest. I think I've heard that the ending is pretty much every single superhero movie ending ever. I think this discrepancy is just because audiences are far more laid back and easygoing. I apologize if you can hear my dog. I would normally just do another take of this, but at this point it's been so long I really want to get this out today. Anyway, as I was saying, going back to the difference. 39 versus 90. Critics have to do what they have to do. They can't just turn their brains off like someone might to enjoy an action film. They've still got to rate it on the basis of things like cinematography, editing. They've got to rate it as a film. When you go to the Oscars, you're getting specific movies competing against one another. Okay, you would never really see like a Fast and Furious at the Oscars. Maybe one day you will. I don't know. People actually think that you should. They think that the Oscars should be a little more accessible. I think that maybe there should be a category. That's a whole other discussion. I'm not going to get into it right now. But what I am going to say is you have to compare the Oscar-worthy films with the January fuzz. You got to take the really, really good and you have to rate it the same as the really, really bad. And that's just how it is. So you're bound to find discrepancies between these audiences that are paying for their ticket and they're going to watch this because they're already invested or interested in the franchise or the characters, or they've seen the trailer and they think it's interesting, versus a critic who probably got to see the film for free. Doing this is them doing their job. They're getting paid to do this. And if they were to just, give everything a pass, they probably wouldn't have a job for much longer. So I honestly think it's totally understandable. There's a bit of a meme on Reddit, if you're familiar with like the movie Circle Jerk. Critics put out the hit, which was an hilarious statement made by the Gotti film producers. If you remember that one time that John Travolta played John Gotti in a movie called Gotti, basically the reviews were really low and critics were just shitting on it because it assumedly is a bad movie. And the producers of the film were very offended by this fact. And so what they did was they made a tweet essentially comparing the Rotten Tomatoes score, the low critic score, the not as low but not that high audience score, and saying critics put out the hit. Why is it that families and fans are loving Gotti, but the critics aren't? Suspicious. So they tried to essentially say that Hollywood blacklisted them, which makes no sense, and I just think it's hilarious. Alright, now all of that aside, it is time for the real girth of this episode, the real juice of this episode. I'm going to be discussing the Hulu Hellraiser film, and I'm also going to be discussing Halloween Ends. I'm going to start with the Hulu Hellraiser. I'll give some thoughts. It'll be a little more brief than my Halloween Ends thoughts, but there will still be some spoilers up ahead. So I'll let you know when I'm going to switch over to spoiler talk. For now, this will be non-spoiler, same format for when I talk about Halloween Ends. So, Hellraiser. What did I think? Is it truly the best since the first? I mean, yeah, have you seen the other Hellraiser movies? Jesus, I mean, they're pretty awful. I recently watched a bunch of them, and wow. I watched Hellraiser 2 for the first time, I watched Hellraiser 3 for the first time, and I tried to watch Hellraiser Bloodline, I don't even remember. I couldn't. I got halfway through, I couldn't watch it. I know people like Angelique, apparently she's a cool Cenobite. I couldn't do it. I legitimately had nothing else to do, and I could not watch that movie. I can only imagine how much worse it gets, and from what I'm seeing, the direct-to-DVD Hellraiser sequels are just atrocious. So this new Hellraiser was a breath of fresh air. I'll start by saying the things that I really, really, really liked. Let's just jump right into the positives. The design was immaculate. The Cenobites design is great. The lament configuration, like I said, I love all the new configurations it's got. They're all great. The locations are all super stylized and great. The acting is really, really well done. It's believable. The effects are mostly practical, which is just thank you. Like, oh, I love that. There's a lot that this film gets right. It gets a lot more right than it gets wrong. I think it gets some things wrong, not going into the negatives. I think maybe it's a bit too long. You could probably shave a bit of the runtime off. It takes a little longer than people might want for things to get going, but I'll have to remind you, the original Hellraiser, the Cenobites don't show up until much later in a prominent role. People complain that in this one, Pinhead doesn't show up for a long time. Pinhead's actually in the first 20 minutes. So you're getting a lot more Cenobite action in this one than you did in the original. So I don't fully understand that complaint. I think it's a bit being picky, but I really, really enjoyed this one overall. I thought, again, like the acting was great. The music was really, really great. They reused some of Christopher Young's score, which was awesome. It's super iconic. The ending was interesting. I liked the way they went with it. Overall, really, really solid film in my opinion. One that I really, really enjoyed. And I would recommend it to fans of the franchise 100%. So, for some spoiler talk now for this Hellraiser film. I thought it was interesting to include a little tidbit in Voight's journal about how Pinhead was once male appearing and then changed to appear female. I don't know if that is saying that this is the same continuity as, the original Clive Barker's Hellraiser from the 80s. I don't know if this is just a reference to the fact that Jamie Clayton, the woman who plays Pinhead, is a trans woman. I do not know, but I thought that was an interesting addition. I love, like I said earlier, all the lament configuration stuff. I love the choice at the end. I love the little knife. I love that when the Chatterer gets stabbed by the lament configuration, when Riley stabs him, he just kind of is like, okay. He just takes it. I don't know if he was happy. I don't know if he was sad. He seemed just indifferent and welcoming, and I thought that was really cool. I love how Pinhead maintains a sort of curiosity. The Leviathan looked really damn cool in this one. Voight's chest contraption was really awesome. Like I said, all the practical effects in this were great. The scene transitions, great. The part where Riley's brother is in the bathroom and it kind of expands open into the labyrinth. Oh, I need some more of that in modern film, please. That was so well done. All the stuff, the van sequence, where the girl gets taken, where we really see Pinhead properly for the first time. That sequence was so cool. There's just so much to gush about for this one. A lot of people seem to not like it. They didn't like Riley as a protagonist. I mean, you gotta understand. This film is literally about how addicts will destroy their own lives, but also the lives of others around them. That's like the story, essentially, if I have to dumb it down for you. So yeah, Riley isn't the best when it comes to the people around her. But that's the point. That's her character. And she's acted so well. All the acting, honestly, is really well done in this one. I really, really liked it. It is, in my opinion, better than Hellraiser 2. Not as good necessarily as Hellraiser 1. They're kind of different strokes for different folks. This one's missing a bit more of the sexual energy I was kind of hoping for. The energy that was slightly stunted due to Hellraiser, the original's release era, the 80s, where things were kind of being, really pushed back on. But overall, like I said, I recommend this to fans of the franchise as a whole. And now we talk about Halloween Ends. So, what did I think? I'll start this off by saying I am a huge Halloween fan. I've gone to conventions dressed as Michael Myers. I've got John Carpenter's signature on a poster for the original Halloween. Like, I'm really big on this. I've got Halloween 4K, which, by the way, that transfer is amazing. But anyway, not to get ahead of myself, Halloween ends, right? And you know what? Yes, it does. This film is rather definitive in its ending of this story that has been told by David Gordon Green. But I have to just say right off the bat, no spoilers, but this trilogy has got to be the most inconsistent trilogy of all time. You've got the reboot, Halloween 2018, the requel, whatever you want to call it. And in this film, the whole point is that they really want to reestablish Michael as being just an ordinary man who has no emotion, no caring, he just wants to kill. They're like, there's no supernatural stuff, no Curse of the Thorn, none of that. He's just a guy. Okay, cool. Then you get Halloween Kills. And in Halloween Kills, Michael survives unbeatable odds. He should have died multiple times by this point. They put him in unbeatable situations and he suddenly wins. And now you've got this thing about, every time he kills, he transcends, he's evil. Okay, so now you've already got a bit of contradiction, but now we come to Halloween Ends. And essentially, yeah, it seems like killing gives him power in certain moments. It's very weird. There's frankly not that much of Michael as a lot of fans would probably hope. There's not that much killing. This film is mostly just about the sort of, how should I say this? The after effect of Michael Myers. Like, essentially at this point in the story, Michael Myers is no more. It's 4 years after the last one. He hasn't been seen. And people are essentially like, okay, maybe he died, maybe he's gone, maybe someone found him, whatever, doesn't matter. But you got this guy named Corey, and I'm not going to get into it too much because I think that Corey has a lot of interesting parts in the film. Frankly, Corey is my favorite character in the movie. I was hoping it would be Laurie, but lo and behold, I'll talk to you about my issues with her character later. So anyway, Corey takes up a huge chunk of this film. He's like a pseudo-protagonist. And again, without going into too much detail, I can't really say much in the no spoilers section, but he has a very interesting arc, but it sucks to have such an interesting character built up in this last movie. Like, if this trilogy was more consistent, he would have been a character from the start, I feel. And he would have actually fit really well in Halloween 2018, in my opinion. He just seems really kind of forcefully inserted for the role he serves for the plot. And Laurie is essentially a completely different character for a majority of this film. And then at the end, she's kind of also a different character who's trying to be more like Laurie. And you get the kind of final showdown you'd probably want and expect from a film like this that boasts the title ends. But for me, it was not satisfying in the ways I was hoping. The music was all good and all that. The cinematography was good, although I will say it was a very dark movie overall. It was hard to see a lot of it. There was a lot of what looked like quote-unquote natural lighting, like just the lighting that you would get from the lights that are visible on that set. Nothing else, no supplementary lighting behind the camera. So you don't get to see Michael's mask a lot, which I thought was unfortunate because from what I saw with the posters and the sort of premise of this film, Michael being tied somewhat to kind of underground cavernous sewage bullshit, I was kind of hoping that this mask would be moldy and gross and just disgusting at this point. But honestly, you really, really rarely see the mask. And I think with that, I got to get into the spoiler talk here because there is so much more to be said with spoilers. So consider this your warning. There will be timestamps you can see when the spoiler talk is over. And if you skip, I will see you later. Okay, so are you fucking kidding me, guys? What? So, let's get this straight. You spend this entire film building up the character of Corey. Corey's interesting. We've never seen Michael have a best friend. Like, they're homies. They're tag teaming kills. And those scenes are hilarious, by the way. I was laughing my ass off at the insanity of what I was watching. But, so you spend the whole film building up Corey, just for him to get fake out shot twice by Laurie with what was a really bullshit line, in my opinion. And then he's pretty much just dead. Like that's it. I honestly wouldn't have even been mad if they continued the franchise on without Michael and it was Corey. Just let him have the mask or something and cool. I'll take it. Allison and Corey. Let's do it. I would have preferred that over Laurie being like, I'm going to kill myself. Oh, call an ambulance. But not for me. Did you seriously think I was going to fucking kill myself? You called the police and reported a suicide. You ripped your necklace off. Yeah, you were actually going to kill yourself. Like, I don't quite understand that line. So right off the bat, just a weird choice. The fact that you get Corey out of the picture so fast, he doesn't even stand a chance. And then you get Michael, and that fight was over too, so quickly. Like, yeah, I get that they're both old and he's kind of rotting at this point. But I don't know. I liked some aspects of it. I liked the line where she takes his mask off and she says, now I see you're just an old man about to take his last breath. I liked that. I liked watching Michael get grinded. That was interesting. But overall, like, this movie, for a majority of it, it was like everyone's horny in Haddonfield. Allison's getting some dick. Laurie's potentially getting some dick. But there was next to no Michael Myers. That's not my foremost complaint, but it's a moderately big one. Like, this is supposed to be the end of his character, and it just felt really unceremonious. I feel, again, like this trilogy should have been better thought out. I think that Halloween Kills shouldn't have existed. It should have been... You know what? How about this? They should have named Halloween 2018 Halloween Kills Again or something, and then have this next one Halloween Ends and leave it there. Make it a trilogy with the original, this requel. Sorry, I don't remember all the terminology and I got some COVID brain fog. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing, by the way. I've been mumbling a lot throughout this, so hopefully I edit all of that out. I apologize if you catch any. But name the requel Halloween Kills or Halloween Kills Again. Have this one Halloween Ends. And I think that takes away a lot of the issues. Combine Halloween Kills in this one. Have them take place on the same night. And boom. Kill Michael off with the crowd. Have Laurie deal the final blow. Like at the end of Halloween Kills. Kill him there. I would have preferred that. Have Corey from the start if you're going to do this double Myers thing. He would have been so much better suited if he were in all of these films and not just in this last one. I feel like it was a disservice because his character had a lot of interesting things going on. It felt kind of similar to like Christian Slater's character in Heathers in a lot of ways. Overall, I was really interested in his character, so it was a shame to see him taken out so quickly. And Michael gets taken out quickly, and the few people you see get killed, it's honestly mostly laughable. I really didn't get what I hoped for with this one. I liked the original Halloween 2018 film. I like a majority of the Halloween films. But no, my favorite continuity is forever going to be Laurie as Michael's sister, I think. The Rob Zombie ones, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about Halloween 78, Halloween 2. I love Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, by the way. And then, I'll leave it there. Just those two. Have Michael get blown up and leave it at that. I'm happy with that. I feel like that's much better. I feel like they didn't have a plan. I'll leave it at that. I feel like they didn't have a plan for this trilogy. And I feel like it kind of bit them in the ass a little bit. It's already got a much lower opening weekend. I wonder if that's because of word of mouth is already spreading. I had a couple of things leaked to me beforehand because the script leaked. So I knew that Corey accidentally kills this kid. I didn't know that specifically, but I knew that people believed that he killed a child. And so they drew comparisons to Michael. And then at some point, Michael is like too weak to kill him, and they have some weird understanding, which, by the way, what the fuck was that scene? So Michael's choking Corey, they look at each other, their lives flash before their eyes, and then there's just some understanding? What? Like, it kind of betrays Michael's character. Why is he having these thoughts? Why is he acting like this? He's usually just trying to kill. He has never let someone go. Other than when he literally, it didn't make sense for him to. Like, at the beginning of Halloween when he steals the car. He doesn't have to kill those people. He doesn't have anything to kill them with other than his hands. He's supposed to drive and get out of there, go back to Haddonfield. Okay, that makes sense. But not killing Corey, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He brought him in, let him live in his little sewer for a little bit while he recovered, while he slept. Then he wakes up, wanders around, he starts choking him out, and then they're just friends. What? Like, maybe if you had this relationship between them building up over the trilogy, it would have been better. That's all I'm saying. Overall, this one was just not really it for me, unfortunately. I liked some of the things. Like I said, I liked Corey. Overall, he was a cool character. I'm sad he's gone, but whatever. Also, the dialogue was kind of cringy for the most part. Like, never in my life did I think I would ever see Laurie Strode say, "Well, I like seeing your face. I like seeing you around. I like seeing your face around." Like, at points it felt like Wattpad level writing, which really surprised me. But, if you're a fan of the franchise, watch this one, get it out of your system, get that, finale feeling ending, Michael getting ground up. Like, he's not coming back, but he's going to. Like, they're not going to continue this timeline, I don't think, but Michael will come back. He's never gone. Come on. He can make money, they'll keep making money. That's all you got to know. Alright, and now, just to kind of wrap things up, I just wanted to give my recommendation. I believe originally I called it Recommendation of the Week, and then it just took a whole month. So I'm going to call this one, just to be safe, the Recommendation of the Month. What do I think you should watch? I think you should watch the original Japanese Ringu. If you're familiar with my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've been playing a lot of Onryo for Dead by Daylight. That's Sadako from The Ring or Ringu, as it is in Japanese. But I watched the original film for the first time. I had seen the American remake, The Ring. And I was pleasantly surprised by what the Japanese original had to offer. I thought the acting for the most part was pretty well done. I liked the sound effects quite a bit. The effects overall were really great. And just overall, I really enjoyed it. So if you're able to watch that one, I would recommend it. It's on Tubi, I believe. It holds up rather well. And it's still creepy. It's rather similar to the American one, so if you don't want to rewatch that, then I probably wouldn't watch this one. But overall, I would say that the American one is the lesser version. So anyway, I want to thank you all for joining me for another episode of ShlockFM. And until next time, I hope you all take care.